What is an organization? An organization is a formal or structured arrangement where two or more people work together to accomplish some specific purpose, a set of objectives. Importance and necessity of organizations. Organizations enable people to achieve things that they could not achieve as individuals. By being cohesive as a group, a common objective or purpose can be achieved. This highlights the importance of the team approach, where it is said that together everyone achieves more. Team. Imagine a basketball team at the start of the season deciding that the Premiership Cup is theirs. If only one or two individual players work towards this objective, the result at the end of the season will be disappointment. If the entire team works consistently towards this objective, success is far more likely.
Once upon a time, a turtle and a rabbit had an argument about who was faster. They decided to settle the argument with a race. The turtle and the rabbit both agreed on a route and started off the race. The rabbit shot ahead and ran briskly for some time. Then, seeing he was far ahead of the turtle, he thought he'd sit under a tree for some time and relax before continuing the race. He sat under the tree and soon fell asleep. The turtle, plodding on, overtook him and soon finished the race, emerging as the undisputed champ. The rabbit woke up and realized that he'd lost the race. The moral of the story is that slow and steady wins the race. This is the version of the story that we've all grown up with. But our version of the story continues. The rabbit was disappointed at losing the race, and he did some thinking. He realized that he'd lost the race only because he had been overconfident, careless, and lax. If he had not taken things for granted, there's no way the turtle could have beaten him. So, he challenged the turtle to another race. The turtle agreed. This time, the rabbit went all out and ran without stopping from start to finish. He won by several miles. The moral of the story? Fast and consistent will always beat the slow and steady. It's good to be slow and steady, but it's better to be fast and reliable. But the story doesn't end here. The turtle did some thinking this time and realized that there's no way he can beat the rabbit in a race the way it was currently formatted. He thought for a while and then challenged the rabbit to another race, but on a slightly different route. The rabbit agreed. The turtle and rabbit started off. In keeping with his self-made commitment to be consistently fast, the rabbit took off and ran at top speed until he came to a broad river. The finishing line was a couple of kilometers on the other side of the river. The rabbit sat there, wondering what to do. In the meantime, the turtle trundled along, got into the river, swam to the opposite bank, continued walking, and finished the race. The moral of the story? First, identify your core competency and then change the playing field to suit your core competency. The story still hasn't ended. The turtle and rabbit by this time had become pretty good friends, and they did some thinking together. Both realized that the last race could have been run much better. So, the turtle and rabbit decided to do the last race again, but to run as a team this time. They started off, and this time the rabbit carried the turtle till the riverbank. There, the turtle took over and swam across with the rabbit on his back. On the opposite bank, the rabbit again carried the turtle, and they reached the finishing line together. Both the turtle and rabbit felt a greater sense of satisfaction than they'd felt earlier. The moral of the story? It's good to be individually brilliant and to have strong core competencies. But unless you're able to work in a team and harness each other's core competencies, you'll always perform below par, because there will always be situations at which you'll do poorly and someone else does well. Teamwork is mainly about situational leadership. letting the person with the relevant core competency for a situation take leadership. And that is the end of the story.
Organizations help to provide a continuity of knowledge between past and future generations. Varying ages and life experiences within an organization allows for the passing down of valuable knowledge while also providing the future members and leaders of the group with a diverse range of opinions and experiences. Organizations serve to manage complex social and technological change. In our everyday changing world, it is important for people to share the responsibility. Organizations are also an important source of employment and career direction. Being part of an organization, such as your school or sports club, may create employment opportunities as it will provide a connection with prospective employers who may be past students of your school or members of your club. Common characteristics of organizations. All organizations have a distinct purpose, which is generally expressed as a goal or set of objectives that the organization wishes to accomplish. A formal structure will involve clear and carefully defined rules, regulations and procedures, whereas a simple network of loose work relationships is regarded as an informal. Differences between organizations. Size, which may vary as to number of employees or members, revenue and assets. The number of people employed at an organization will affect the way it is structured and operate. Size of revenue or gross income can vary from being a very small business generating income of thousands of dollars to a very large multinational corporation with revenue in the scale of billions of dollars. Assets are what the organization actually owns. The value, or size, of assets, like revenue, can vary enormously. For instance, for a small lawn mowing business, the car used to get from one job to the next is a vital asset to the business operation. Nature of operations refers to whether the organization has been established as a business enterprise or for social interaction. Similarly, does the organization produce or sell goods or provide a service to customers and/or clients? Form of legal ownership. If the organization is a business, does it operate as a sole trader/proprietor, as a partnership, a company, a cooperative or as a trust? Extent of their market share. In a competitive marketplace, organizations are compared based on the percent of the particular market they command, that is, their market share. Organizations within the same industry develop strategies to entice customers away from their competitors, thereby capturing a larger share of the market. Coca-Cola and Pepsi are seen in the soft drink industry as fierce rivals, always developing strategies to try to gain market share over the other. Contribution to the economy. This is measured in terms of how much monetary value it provides to the gross domestic product, GDP, of Australia. In both the nature of their operations and the assistance they may require, the government has classified them into specific industries. There are 17 industry sectors: accommodation, cafes and restaurants; agriculture, forestry and fishing; communication services; construction; cultural and recreation services; education; electricity, gas and water supply; finance and insurance; government administration and defense; health and community services; manufacturing; mining; personal and other services; property and business services; retail trade; transport and storage; wholesale trade. Types of organizations. The focus of for-profit organizations is profit attainment, market share and growth. The following are in this category: The focus of not-for-profit (NFP) organisations is on providing specific service to the community. For example, the Australian Red Cross provides a free blood donation. Some not-for-profit organisations are government businesses, other large welfare organisations are church-sponsored. The Salvation Army is an example that acts through their nationwide networks to meet the needs of their particular communities. Others, such as the Australian Red Cross, are independent, non-denominational community organisations.
The salvos began in Australia when a tradie stood on the back of a cart and shouted, "If there's a man here who hasn't had a meal today, let him come and have tea with me." Since then, they've supported people through the Depression, 2 world wars, and countless disasters. And today, they help over 1 million people around the country every year by providing meals, accommodation, counselling, financial assistance, and much more. When Australians are doing it tough, the salvos are here to help. With your help, they always will be. Please give generously by calling 13-SALVOS or online at salvos.org.au.
These organisations gain the majority of funds through generous donations from the Australian business community and the general public. Objectives of different types of organisations. All organisations, whether they are for-profit or not-for-profit, need to set objectives they wish to achieve in line with their mission statement or vision statement. Financial objectives. A commercial organization is usually judged on its financial success, profit or surplus. This amount needs to be sufficient to provide owners and shareholders with a return on their investment, dividend, if it is a profit-making organization. For a not-for-profit organization, surplus must be sufficient to allow it to perform its social objectives. Product sales and market share. A business may want to increase its sales in the hope of making the business more profitable. An increase in market share usually leads to an increase in profitability in the long term. For example, Virgin Blue Airlines, in its initial bid to gain market share in the Australian domestic market, was willing to offer cut-price fares. The length of time that these lower price fares could be sustained depended on what profit margin Virgin was seeking from its Australian operations. It is now conducting a similar pricing strategy with the introduction of its international route carrier, via Australia. For a not-for-profit organization, the important objectives are to ensure that their organization attracts sufficient donations, sponsorship or support. Growth. This relates to a combination of both market share and profit. Businesses decide whether their domestic market will provide sufficient growth potential or whether they need to go global in their operations. Another option for growing a business is to diversify into other areas of operation. Similarly, NFP organizations may be called upon to offer assistance in unfamiliar areas, and therefore they must decide whether they really are the best organization to offer the needed assistance, or if it would be better to redirect the donations being offered to another not-for-profit organization that has the infrastructure and experience. Social objectives are relevant for both for-profit and not-for-profit organizations. They relate to establishing objectives that are of benefit to employees and the community. Examples of these objectives are to ensure ongoing employment, training and development and career paths for employees, to provide services to the community, or be actively involved in supporting community projects, to assist in improving employment prospects for disadvantaged groups in the community, for instance youth, migrants, or those with criminal records, to produce environmentally friendly products and not produce or release any pollutants into the air or waterways. The Body Shop Australia, as an ethical retailer, is an example of a business that has successfully combined these objectives. Since 1987, the Body Shop has supported fair trade in the toiletries and cosmetics industry. It has established a community trade program where trading relations to source high-quality, natural ingredients are fostered directly with marginalized communities around the world. The Body Shop aims to maximize sustainable benefits to its supplier communities while also meeting customer expectation.
This festive season, give something extra special. An award-winning body butter containing super moisturizing community trade cocoa butter. Community trade means just that. Trading fairly with marginalized communities, guaranteeing a fair price for top quality natural ingredients. Take Ghana in West Africa, for example. Rich in natural resources, cocoa is one of its most important exports. It's also the home of the Kwapa Koku Cooperative, our fantastic community trade cocoa butter supplier. The Kwapa Koku Cooperative started with just a few hundred growers. Today they represent thousands of small-scale farmers, still using traditional farming methods to produce the best quality cocoa beans. An ever-increasing number of them are women, who, encouraged by the cooperative, are taking an active role in improving their lives and futures.
My name is Erica Edichumuachere. I'm from Ghana in West Africa, and I work for Kwapa Koku Cooperative as a development officer. If you belong to the cooperative, you stand to gain a lot because the cooperative doesn't cheat any of the farmers. So in the cooperative, they get to elect someone who does the weighing for them, called the recorder, because he is elected so he doesn't cheat anybody. That's the first benefit. The second thing too is that the cooperative has been able to invest a lot in education. So the cooperative has been able to build 7 schools in Ghana. And then also, the most important thing to me is access to good drinking water. So the cooperative has been able to drill a lot of boreholes in the villages where it operates, because otherwise a farmer would have to walk for a mile or 2 to the nearest river with big buckets to actually carry water which is dirty for drinking. Most of the women now know that whatever a man can do, they can also do, and even do it better, because one of the basic aims of the cooperative is women empowerment. Also, in the just recent national AGM that we had, there was elections, and at the highest level, the national level, 12 out of 20 are women. So women are at the helm of affairs, and they can take decisions which otherwise they would never have been able to. Community trade and fair trade actually has done a lot for farmers in Ghana and then also in Africa as a whole, because farmers are paid a guaranteed price. They know how much they're going to get at the end of the day, and by so they're able to plan. And it actually means that, they can take their lives into their own hands, actually help them to, make the necessary impact on themselves and then their families. So I would want to thank the people of Body Shop for all the help that they've been giving us over the years. They've been trading with us for well over 10 years, and in the 10 years they've been, buying our cocoa increasingly. And so we would want to entreat them to sell more body butter, because the more they sell, the more raw materials that they are going to need.
Community trade is over 20 years old, and it's unique to the Body Shop. We buy from marginalized communities, guaranteeing a fair price to over 15,000 people in more than 20 countries. Naturally at the Body Shop and nowhere else.